In this video, I'm comparing an authentic Thai Beanie Baby Rex the dinosaur versus a fake Rex the dinosaur. On the right is the authentic Beanie Baby. As you can tell right away, the color variations of the two are very different. The Rex dinosaur, the authentics, are normally more in the pinks, blues, sometimes orangey looking, and even a lot of purples. Just a lot of different variations in color. The one on the right is almost like a steg type of fabric. It doesn't quite have the actual plushness to the actual fabric that a Thai product does. One of the biggest things I noticed right away are the facial features of the dinosaur. The one on the right, you can see where, the color for sure, and then you can see just how the facial features are, where it goes down and then out, whereas the counterfeit just has a straight slope down, as well as the elongated face on the fake Rex is very obvious on that. The other thing I noticed right away are the eyes. The eye on the authentic beanie is more pushed into the plush, and it's more flush against the outside of the beanie, whereas the counterfeit is more of a bubble eye. It's bigger. So when you take a look at it and you look at it sideways, you can just really see how it's almost sitting on top of the fabric, and there's just a big bump on it, whereas the authentic is more into the plush and it's almost flush against the surface. So, and even when you look at these straight on, you can see the differences as to the size of the heads. These are a little bit shorter and a lot softer. This is longer. It's very hard. The stuffing inside is very hard. The other thing too is when you look at the fabric itself, on a Thai Beanie Baby, when you go back and forth, it's very plush. It just really smooth both ways. On the counterfeits, a lot of times when you go against the nap, you can definitely see that there's ridges. It's very rough. When you go down, it's smooth, but when you go back up, it's really rough. You can see that, you can feel it. This is almost kind of like a real, like a flannel type of a fabric. So that's just the feel of the fabrics are pretty obvious. The next thing I like to do is I do like to compare the swing tags. Right away, I can see the difference of the two. The one on the left, which is the counterfeit, is the TY inside is a lot more of a bigger bubble. Also, the gold on the outside is a lighter color gold compared to the authentic. And also the placement of the TY on the tag. You can see where the difference are. You can see it's really close to the ledge here. On the authentic, there's a lot more space that's in between the TY and the edge. So that's where you can see like a size difference. I like to look at side and do some tag comparisons or fonts and just to see punctuation. One of the things I noticed right away on the counterfeit is I noticed that there's almost like a coloration, discoloration right around the hole, and that's due to the dye just slightly bleeding into the inside of the tag, whereas tags are pretty clean up here. You don't see any red dye around the holes or down the fold. Also, the tag hole position on counterfeit sometimes is very spaced far apart. In this particular one, they're spaced pretty evenly. I don't really notice any spacing difference on those. But when I do look at the actual fonts themselves, I do notice that there's some slight differences, whereas Thai's up here is a little bit more blocky, and I notice there's punctuation, spacing, sizes, the difference between the two tags. Even though these are two different type of tags, as I mentioned before, third generation tags came in many variations, but really the fonts and the spacing and just the coloring is usually pretty even keel on the authentic versus the fake. And when I also look at the back, you can notice that there's a big difference in color variation. The counterfeit doesn't even have any information at the top here where it says things about the child under 36 months or 3 years and up. I mean, it could be different. Just the spacing also down here where it says retain your Thai for your reference, retain tag for your reference. It's very close to the gold Also, when I look at the UPC codes on these, the one on the left is kind of a taller, thinner type of a font. It's kind of hard to see because this thing creases, but you can definitely just see the differences of the print when you really focus in on it. This one doesn't even have a CE on it, whereas the authentic one does. The other thing I like to compare is I like to look at the tush tags. Now, I don't have a Rex, an authentic Rex with a second gen tush tag, but this particular one is an authentic black and white Rex tush tag. All the tush tags for all the dinosaurs, regardless if it's first gen or second gen tush, came with a 1995 copyright date. And then when I look on the back here, you can see that this is an authentic tush tag. Now, I do want to compare the counterfeit Rex tush tag to an authentic. I do have an authentic Steg tush tag here, and what I'd like to do is just compare, show the differences between the two dinosaurs tush tags, because there are some big variations here. Let me see if I can get these lined up so you can see these side by side. The tush tag on the left is a counterfeit, and it is more of a red, like a not a red, but more of an orangey look. And as well as the TY on the inside of the heart is different. There's a slight difference of variation, the fake versus the real. But when you really look at it, also the R, the registered symbol on the left-hand side, is bigger than the registered symbol on the authentic beanie. And the same goes for when I actually compare the back side of the tush tags. You can see where there is a print or color variation, as well as the font on the left-hand side is like a thinner font, taller font, a little bit bigger. You have spacing, differences in spacing, as well as if you take a look at the CEs on the two tush tags, you can see that the CE on the fake is a little bit thinner CE versus the one on the right. And as I mentioned before, all dinosaurs come with a 1995 copyright date. So if you do see a fake counterfeit with a 1993 or a different type of a tush tag other than a first gen and a second gen tush tag, these are what the tush tag should look like on either dinosaur. You have the black and white, and you have the second gen, which is the red and white. So these are the two that should be what you should look for on the dinosaurs. And again, when you take a look at these dinosaurs, some of the main things that you see right away are the color variations on these, and that's a dead giveaway, as well as the eyes, the features, the tush tags, the swing tags, and the actual fabric itself.